Hello, in this session, let us go through the derivation of Reynolds equation in two dimensions. Let us go through the derivation of Reynolds equation in 2D. So the differential equation governing the pressure distribution in case of fluid film lubrication was first derived by the person Osborne Reynolds in the year 1886 for the incompressible fluid. This equation, called as Reynolds equation, establishes the relationship between the geometry of the surfaces, the relative sliding velocity, the property of the fluid like viscosity, and the magnitude of the load the bearing can support. So there are many assumptions which we need to make before going to the actual derivation. So let us see what are all the assumptions. So first of all, the fluid or the lubricant is assumed to be incompressible, and the flow of fluid or the lubricant is assumed to be laminar. So the lubricant is assumed to have the laminar flow, and the lubricant is assumed to follow the Newton's law of viscosity. That is, the lubricant is a Newtonian fluid, that is, the shear stress will be directly proportional to the rate of shear strain in the lubricant. Next, the forces due to the inertia of the lubricant are neglected. So inertia forces due to the lubricant is neglected here. The viscosity of the lubricant is assumed to be remaining constant throughout the oil film. The viscosity is not going to change. So the clearance between the bearing and the general surface is so small that any change in pressure across that clearance can be neglected, and there is no flow in the direction perpendicular to the motion of the lubricant. That is, it is assumed that there is no leakage. The fluid film thickness between the two surfaces is very small compared with the other dimensions like bearing radius. So therefore the curvature of the surfaces could be neglected. So these are all the assumptions before we go for the derivation of the equation. Let us consider the figure shown, in which there are two surfaces. The one of the surface, that is bottom surface, is stationary, which is nothing but the bearing surface, and the top surface, it is nothing but the journal surface. So the journal is rotating, so therefore the top plate is assumed to move at a uniform velocity u, and the load acting is indicated by W. The x, y and z axis are shown. The y axis going downwards and z axis is perpendicular to the xy plane. So for the purpose of analysis, let's consider a small fluid element. So here in this space we have the lubricant, Here the lubricant is filled in this space. So for the purpose of analysis, considering this small fluid element of dimensions dx, dy and dz along the x, y and z directions respectively. So here it is shown the small fluid element on a larger scale. So here the dimensions dx, this is the dimension dx in the x direction, and this is the dimension dy in the y direction, and this is the dimension dz in the z direction. So considering the axis, so here the x-axis represents the direction of flow of the lubricant, the y-axis is nothing but the radial direction, and z-axis represents the axial direction for the journal bearing, which is parallel to the axis of the journal. So let us also consider the velocity components of the journal in the x, y and z directions, which are denoted by u, v and w respectively. So let's consider the journal bearing, in which the journal is rotating with a uniform velocity u inside a bearing, and the clearance space is filled with the oil or lubricant. Let's consider the film thickness of the oil as small h. So considering for the purpose of analysis a small elemental volume as shown on the right side, and the dimensions of this small element is dx, dy and dz along x, y and z directions respectively. The forces acting on this small volume are shown, which are nothing but the pressure force and the shear force. So the pressure force acting on the left side area, that is nothing but the area is dy into dz. So the pressure represented by P. So therefore the pressure force on the left side is P into dy into dz. So on the right side we have the pressure force denoted by P plus del P by del x into dx into dy dz. So this denotes the change in pressure or the variation of pressure across the length dx. So therefore that is denoted by del P by del x. So the total pressure is denoted by P plus del P by del x dx into same area dy dz. Same way, if we consider the shear force is given by the shear stress into the area on which it is acting. So it is shear stress is generally acting parallel to the surface. So therefore, considering the top surface, the shear force is given by, since the plate is moved at velocity u, so here the shear force is given by tau x into the area of that surface, that is dx into dz. Same way the variation of this shear force over the height or distance dy on the other surface, that is the bottom surface. The shear force is represented by tau x plus del tau x by del y dy, that is nothing but the distance over which this shear force is going to vary, into the same area dx dz. So these are the forces acting on this elemental volume. So let us consider the small element. So we can see the element in a 2D plane, that is x and y axis. The forces acting on this small element are shown. So the following forces are acting on the elemental fluid. First of all, the pressure force in the positive x direction, given by the product of the pressure and the area dy dz, and it's acting in the positive x direction. Similarly, we have the pressure on the opposite face acting normal to that face in the negative x direction, given by p plus del p by del x dx dy dz, because del p by del x refers to the variation in the pressure across the length dx. Similarly, we have the shear force acting on the top surface, given by, that is acting in the positive x direction, given by tau x into the area on which it is acting is dx dz. Similarly, we have the shear force which is acting on the bottom surface in a direction opposite to that of the top surface, given by tau x plus del tau x by del y dy dx dz. So the term del tau x by del y refers to the change in or the variation in the shear stress over the length dy or height dy. Now, considering the equilibrium of these forces acting on the element, so the pressure force acting in the positive x direction is P into dy dz, so that is positive. Then the pressure force acting in the negative x direction, so that will be negative, that is minus p plus del p by del x dx dy dz. Then the shear force acting on the top surface, it is acting in the positive x direction, so it is plus tau x dx dz. And the shear force acting on the bottom surface, it is in the negative x direction, so it is minus tau x plus del tau x by del y dy dx dz. So this is what we get if we consider the equilibrium of the forces. So now here, simplifying this, p dy dz minus p into dy dz minus del p by del x dx dy dz plus tau x dx dz minus tau x dx dz minus del tau x by del y dx dy dz. This is what the is equal to 0. This is what the expression we are going to get. So here these terms will cancel. Here tau x dx dz minus tau x dx dz will also cancel, and what we get is del p by del x plus del tau x by del y into dx dy dz is equal to 0, because negative sign will also vanish. We'll go if we take it to the RHS. So from this we will get del p by del x is equal to minus del tau x by del y. This is the equation we will get, but we know that according to Newton's law of viscosity, the shear stress is given by the equation neta into du by dy, where du by dy is the velocity gradient. Here, if we consider the surfaces which we have considered, one is stationary and the top plate is moving with a uniform velocity u. So for this case, as there is a negative velocity gradient, the velocity decreases. So therefore, considering the negative sign, so tau is equal to minus neta du by dy. So if we substitute this in the above equation, we get del p by del x is equal to minus del of minus neta du by dy by del y. So that if we simplify, we can write this as neta into d square u by dy square. So the equation del p by del x is equal to neta d square u by dy square, and from this we can write d square u by dy square is equal to 1 by neta del p by del x. So integrating this equation with respect to y, we get integration of d square u by dy square is nothing but du by dy, that is equal to 1 by neta integration of del p by del x dy. So this can be written as du by dy is equal to 1 by neta del p by del x integration of dy. So du by dy is equal to 1 by neta del p by del x into y, because the integration of dy is y, plus some constant, let us take that constant as c1. Again, if we integrate this equation with respect to y, then so integration of du by dy is u, that is equal to 1 by neta into del p by del x, integration of y is y square by 2, plus integration of c1 with respect to y, c1 is a constant, so integration is c1y plus some constant c2. Let us apply the boundary conditions. So at y is equal to 0, u is equal to u. That means we have this plate which is moving at uniform velocity u. So this is y is equal to 0. So the velocity of the plate is nothing but u. Then we have, so substituting this in the equation which we got, u is equal to 1 by neta del p by del x y square by 2 plus c1y plus c2. So if we substitute that, we get the value of u is equal to 0 plus c2, because at y is equal to 0, u is equal to u, small u is equal to capital U. So we will get c2 is equal to capital U. Similarly, at y is equal to h, that is nothing but the inclined surface, which is nothing but stationary. So this is at y is equal to h. So here the velocity is u is 0 because the surface is stationary. So if we substitute this, we get 0 is equal to 1 by neta del p by del x square by 2 plus c1h plus u, because C2 is u. So from this we can get C1 as 1 by h into minus u minus h square over 2 neta del p by del x. So substituting the expressions for C1 and C2 in equation number 1, we have the equation number 1 given by u is equal to 1 by neta del p by del x y square by 2 plus C1y plus C2. So the expression for C1 what we got is minus of u by h plus h by 2 neta del p by del x. Okay, and for C2 we got u. So substituting it in the equation number 1, we get this equation, and simplifying this equation we get u is equal to 1 by 2 neta del p by del x if I take outside. So it can be written as, here there is y square, so y square minus, here we have h into y, so minus h, it will become minus h into y if I take this term outside, plus u into, so here we have u and here we have minus u by h, so this can be written as u minus u by h, or if I take u outside, it can be written as u into 1 minus uh, y by h, because here there is y, and if we simplify this we get u into h minus y by h. So now taking this as equation number 2, now step 2, considering the discharge through this element. So since the fluid is assumed to be incompressible, the quantity of the lubricant that flows into the element is equal to the lubricant that flows out of this element or cube. So this is what we have. So considering the discharge through the elemental volume, so we can write the product of the velocity component and the area, that is u into dy dz, plus v, velocity component v, into the corresponding area, that is dx dz, plus the velocity component w and the corresponding area, that should be equal to the velocity component u plus change in this with respect to the x direction, that is del u by del x dx dy dz, plus similarly v plus del v by del y dy dx dz, plus w plus del w by del z dz dx dy. So if we simplify this, u dy dz and u dy dz, similarly here it is going to cancel, v dx dz, v dx dz is going to cancel, w dx dy, and here w dx dy is going to cancel. So what is left is dou u by dou x, or del u by del x dx dy dz, plus del v by del y dx dy dz, plus del w by del z dx dy dz is equal to 0. So from this, we take dx dy dz to the RHS, what we are left is del u by del x plus del v by del y plus del w by del z is equal to 0. But since we do not consider any flow in the z direction, there is no flow, so therefore this term is neglected, that is we get the expression del u by del x plus del v by del y is equal to 0. So considering the equation del u by del x plus del v by del y is equal to 0, so we get del v by del y is equal to minus del u by del x. So this can be written as dv is equal to minus del u by del x into dy. So integrating this equation between the limits y is equal to 0 to y is equal to h, we get integration of dv between the limits 0 to h is equal to minus integration of del u by del x dy limit between the limits 0 to h. So let's take this as equation number 3. Now considering this boundary conditions, we have at y is equal to h, fluid is in contact with the stationary surface. Okay, so therefore the velocity component is 0 there. U is also 0, v is also 0. So therefore if we integrate this v, integration of dv is v from the limits 0 to h. So since the component v is 0 at h, so this we will get 0 minus the velocity component at 0, that is nothing but the moving plate. So there it has u component, so therefore velocity component v is 0, therefore that is 0. So this will give us 0, that is the LHS is 0. So therefore the equation integration of 0 to h dv is equal to minus integration of 0 to h del u by del x dy becomes 0 is equal to integration of 0 to h del u by del x dy. So now this equation integration of del u by del x dy can be written as d by dx of integration of the term u into dy. This is from one of the properties of the integration. So this term can be written in this way, that is integration of del u by del x dy can be written as d by dx of integration of the terms u into dy. So simplifying this, that is if we substitute in place of u, that is the velocity component, expression for velocity component, so we have the expression for velocity component given by this equation 2. So substituting this in equation number 3, so we get d by dx of integration of 0 to h 1 by 2 eta del p by del x y square minus hy plus u into h minus y over h into dy. So that is equal to 0. So taking this equation d by dx of integral 0 to h 1 by 2 eta dp by dx y square minus hy plus u into h minus y over h dy is equal to 0. So we have to integrate this equation with respect to y. So when we integrate this, we get d by dx into 1 by 2 eta dp by dx integration of y square is y cube by 3 minus h into integration of y is y square by 2 plus u into integration of h with respect to y is hy minus integration of y is y square by 2, the numerator divided by h is equal to 0. So now we need to apply the limits, that is nothing but 0 to h. So when we apply the limits d by dx of 1 by 2 eta dp by dx of h cube by 3 minus, here it will be, when I substitute h over here, it will become h cube by 2. H cube by 3 minus h cube by 2, that will give us the expression minus h cube by 6 plus u into, here if I substitute h, it will be h square minus h square by 2. That is nothing but h square minus h square by 2 becomes 2h square minus h square. That's nothing but h square by 2h. So that is equal to 0, because one more this thing is 0. So when I substitute 0 here, everything it will be 0. Everywhere you have y, so it is 0. So this will become 1 by 12 neta, take outside, d by dx of h cube dp by dx. So this again taking this expression to the right side, since minus is there over here, taking to the right side, it will become like this, is equal to d by dx is there, so d by dx of this, here one h will cancel, so u into h by 2 will remain, so d by dx of u h by 2. So taking this whole term to the RHS, so then it will be this expression. So simplifying this further, we get d by dx of h cube dp by dx is equal to 6 12 neta when it goes to the right hand side, here 2 is there, so it will become 6 neta into this u taking it outside into dh by dx. So this equation is called as the Reynolds equation in 2 dimensions, that is d by dx of h cube dp by dx is equal to 6 neta u dh by dx.